Welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how fantastic building stuff on Toyotas is, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler, and welcome to the podcast, the number one fastest growing off-road Toyota podcast in Northern California.
That'll work.
That'll work? Does that work?
Yep.
Okay, cool. We're not going to get sued by anybody over that one?
I don't think so.
Good. Joining me for the number one fastest growing off-road Toyota podcast in Northern California is the one and only Mr. Jimmy Jett himself. Not an impersonator this time. I wonder if anybody knows that we had an impersonator on last time.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Nobody's mentioned it yet.
Nope.
So
Nope. I didn't hear anything. I think we're safe.
Good. Man, that's two statements this episode already. The first 1 minute into the episode that we could have, I think we're pretty safe on saying. Yeah, cool. No corrections needed yet.
Nope.
Oh, man. Anyways, Jimmy, how are you, man?
I'm good. I'm still recovering from my weekend, but otherwise I'm doing pretty well.
Nice. Are we going to get into that then, I guess, in a little bit? Why you had such a strenuous weekend? Or
We can.
We can? Okay.
I think that's the point of this episode.
Oh, gotcha.
To some extent, and talk and possibly some axle talk. Or is that we're going to save axle talk for Monday?
We'll see. We'll
Okay.
see. I don't have a whole lot to talk about because, Kermit is down and out right now, but I did some other stuff. So,
yeah, we can give some general updates in regards to what's going on in Northern California. But before we do any of that, should we talk about our giveaway?
Yeah, we do have a giveaway. It's what was it? Gear-Wrench Corey's storage locker clean out
giveaway
giveaway thing
extravaganza.
Question mark? We got a nice little bunch of tools over here. So it's $350-ish in value.
350 plus.
Yep. So some of the fun things we got over there is an electric torque wrench, some WIS spring-loaded scissors, which are a lot of fun. They're fun to pop open on people. Some of the new Crescent pliers. Was that one of the lineman pliers?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just their new style of grips that they have.
Nice.
And then the 11-in-1 screwdriver.
Ratcheting
screwdriver. A 25-foot Lufkin tape measure.
With a magnet on it to hold it to your surfaces.
Yes. The one of our favorite gear wrench lights is over there. Your favorite tool, which I'm surprised is still down in that pile and has not disappeared yet.
It has taken a lot of restraint, mainly because we've already talked about it on the podcast now. So, and I don't know if we can get another one.
Why don't we just replace the adjustable wrench that has lights on it with an adjustable wrench that you duct tape a light on? I'm
okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a couple of little, pocket lights we can donate to the cause.
There you go. And then how do you describe that? That's a 1/4-inch drive adapter.
It's almost, it's something to hold your screwdriver bits in. And what it does, it has almost like a mini clutch or something inside of it that once it reaches a certain amount of torque, it allows give in the adapter. For the bit itself so that you don't break your bits on impact drivers.
Yep. So it'll save your bits.
Yep. Always good thing to save your bits.
Yeah. And then there's some other miscellaneous random one-off, some screwdrivers and random wrench and some other goodness down there. Yeah. So a bunch of
You may or may not also get a blue oval.
Maybe.
That doesn't need to be in here. So
both of us own a Ford.
Shh. No one needs to know that, Jimmy.
Okay. Sorry.
We don't need to bring down the podcast.
All right. But so along with that, those items, you might get some other randomness inside of the giveaway. But when we just tiled up some of those items, it came out to be around $350.
Yep. So that's the giveaway for Septiembre.
Yes, it is.
So in order to get in on that and make sure that you're signed up, make sure you head over to irate4x4.com. Down in the Snail Trail forum, which is accessible from the front page there. Just go into the Snail Trail forum and all of your sign up options will be on the right-hand side of the page if you're on a computer. And if you're on a mobile device, they'll be down kind of at the bottom of the page. So,
and then we have done some massive work on the gift boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably go out on a limb and say they're not going to be released the first week of October, but
Probably
that
not.
tier will be open.
Mhm.
I do, after doing some work on the gift boxes, I'm going to have a discussion with Tyler about how we might want to proceed with these in the future. And there might be some changes coming. So we'll inform you guys hopefully before that tier opens with what might happen. But I do have some plans in the works for the next gift box, so it's not going away anytime soon. Just some adaptations might happen to it.
Nice.
Let's see. What else do we have going on? We don't have... Oh, we spoke to Patrick Eddy and found out his die size for the affordable bender. So we're going to be getting that out to him. Also, I mentioned it in the last episode, but we do have the questions form in the podcast description for asking us questions for episode 350 when we get the significant others on. So we're not going to look at the form prior. We're only going to pull those up when we sit down to record for episode 350. So ask randomness and ask fun pointed questions or whatever you want. Just go down there, click on the link and enter a question. And if you want, enter your name as well, so we know who the question came for, or we can give you credit if you want credit. If you don't, leave the name blank. That one's not required, but the question or form or section bracket is required. So
nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for 350 coming up here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a
that's
good
coming
time.
up kind of soon too. It's 2 months away.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Nice.
Yep. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's pretty much all I have. We covered FNGs and birthdays. And do we have a voicemail?
We do, but I think it's a car warranty. A car warranty place. Do you want to listen to the car warranty?
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Make sure you qualify and take advantage of this today.
Still going.
That's it? Oh, okay.
Still going. Somewhere. Where is it?
I didn't turn the volume down.
Congratulations, you now qualify for 1 year of free maintenance on your automobile. Press 2 to speak to a live agent to make sure you qualify and take advantage of this today.
So it's just on loop.
I think it's just on loop.
That's funny. It just calls random people and it's just on loop.
Yeah, don't turn off yet.
Oh, there's more?
Call rejected.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's just on an auto dialer and then it just has an audio loop recording. So
wow. That's pretty funny.
For everybody out there, my uncle was one of the guys that first
do you want to say this?
Built the
I know where you're going. We're going to get so much hate.
We're going to get a lot of hate for it. My uncle was one of the first people to make the programming for auto dialers. So everybody can thank my uncle when you see him. Sorry, Uncle.
Is that the one that lives near me?
No.
Okay. I was going to go egg his house.
Right.
All right. Well, that's all I have on the to-do list for the most part. I did want to talk a little bit about the fire that's going on. Yeah,
there's a big fire, big fire going on up here in Northern California. Yeah, I don't even know where to begin with it. So there's been a lot of evacuations. There's a big fire going on. And the thing that I wanted to say special note on is that the Rubicon Trail is currently closed. Yep.
So don't go out there, think that you can run the Rubicon Trail and be all alone, because you driving out into that area, you're getting in the way of emergency services that need to get around.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's really one of the main reasons they closed the trail. Besides the fact if the winds change, it could affect the trail, which it's not currently affecting the trail at all. But you can't get off the trail fast in case of an emergency.
Want to bet?
Yeah, somebody can, but not Bobcat. I'll tell you that. Bobcat's pretty quick, and I know the trail really well. But if you've never been out there, you're definitely not the time to go. Plus, the smoke is just going in that direction.
Yeah,
and so even though you're not really close to the fire, or not super close, but you're just going to get bombarded with smoke. But they've closed places And the route that I go, they've closed. People out of Georgetown have been evacuated.
Mhm.
People out of Volcanoville has been evacuated.
Quintet. Yeah, everything up in that area.
Forest Hill.
Mhm.
There's a whole bunch of areas up there that have been evacuated. And that's my main route to get to the Rubicon. So, I mean, I could go up 50 and Ice House in the back route, but just don't go up there. Stay out of the area. I'm hearing a lot of people talking about going to other trails up in that area because they're not closed down. But I'm probably going to avoid it and just stay out of the smoke.
Yeah, you learned your lesson last year. Trying to go up to Barrett Lake in the dense smoke that trip, man. I still don't know how you go. Well, you guys didn't.
No,
you went halfway the trail. You're like,
we're
not
and turned around.
Yeah.
But I mean, Hustle Nuts is telling me that he wants to go to Fordyce this weekend, and I'm like, don't you remember last year when like you had lung problems for a few days, like after the fact, and your throat was killing you, and like be careful. I'm gonna stay home and work on Bobcat.
Yeah.
So
hey, me too.
Yeah.
Except not a Bobcat.
Not a Bobcat. Let's see. It's been a little while since we've done a recording, but we do want to give our condolences out to Zandy's family and what is it? Rufus Racing. Rufus, thank you. Rufus Racing. Some tragedies out there at the Crandon race and some bad accidents. And we definitely lost an outstanding citizen and a wonderful racer. I was listening to Wheeling Wine and Whiskey's podcast, and 2 episodes ago, they did a moment of silence for him, which was really cool. And they brought him up this time. They also brought up Ian Du Bois and how he goes in an accident. And I don't know if they put 1 and 2 together, but that is Ian that used to be on the Total Off-Road podcast.
Oh,
so
okay,
he was in an accident
right.
also and had some back or neck issues.
Some cracked vertebrae, right?
Some cracked vertebrae, if I recall. Yeah. So he was in an accident. There's a lot of people in accidents out there. Jimmy Jack from Colfax area.
Yeah, that area, Auburnish.
Above Auburn, maybe outside of Colfax, Mar, somewhere out there, was in a pretty bad accident. Him and his wife, their co-driver, had some were in problems. And so, there was some pretty bad races or accidents. And sorry to I believe it's the Williams family. So condolences to you guys for losing an amazing gentleman. So
apparently like at that moment when the Zandy's accident happened, there was like 3 big accidents.
That's what I heard.
On different ends of the whole race area.
Yeah. Within like 5 minutes, there was a few different bad accidents that happened. And so, but I believe, they did the best that they possibly could. So it just, things happen. I think I read somewhere that he usually has a shirt on that said, "But did you die?" And he wasn't wearing it that weekend. So sorry to hear everything that's been happening, but I guess his wife made a speech to the drivers on the following day and said he would want you guys to race.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks. It happened. Yeah. But don't stop.
Yeah.
Keep racing. So that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
All right. So that's all the information I wanted to cover early. Did you want to talk about anything?
No, not really.
All right.
We have a few episodes that we're getting lined up here for everybody. So,
some fun interviews coming up.
So, stay tuned to keep your ear holes open, and it should be some fun episodes over the next month, 2 months here. So,
yeah, definitely.
That's all I got, man.
That's all you got?
That's all.
We're keep this one super short
for housekeeping. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Housekeeping wise. Sure. Yeah. So how about what in the butt?
Oh man, the past 2 weekends, because I don't think we recorded since 2 weekends ago, or at least we didn't talk about 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is it's been a really weird 2 weeks for me. We kind of mentioned it last, where it was going to be kind of nice to not have anything in the schedule after everything I've been doing since April, May.
Absolutely.
And you as well. And so last weekend I ended up building the bar.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I've been wanting to build a bar for my house.
Yeah.
For a very long time.
Sweet.
And I have a nice kegerator set up, thanks to Jimmy, that's waiting to go in the bar and just waiting for a bar to be built kind of thing. And so I had been waiting for a live edge bar top that I really liked, right? I wanted built out of a tree, live edge slab. And I haven't been able to find any that I really liked and were a price that I wanted, right?
Sure.
I ended up saying, fuck it, I'm just going to build the bar anyways. And I'll go looking around and see what I can find for a live edge top to it.
Okay.
So I have a live edge top on order now, and I think it should be here this week, but I ended up building the bar.
So is the framework and everything all built up for the most part, except it doesn't have a top on it?
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. And so I was originally planning on trying to build like an L-shaped bar. And then after looking at the space and kind of measuring stuff out and putting out dimensions on the ground and tape on the ground of where the bar would sit, we decided to change the design up and have it just be one straight bar on casters that we can pull out and then push back into the little wine nook where we have all of our wine.
Right. So in your house, you have this wall that has a slight recession into the wall with like a foot.
It's about 1.5 feet. Yeah.
Okay. 16 inches, somewhere in there. So you built a bar that pushes into that space?
No, it'll essentially push in and close that space. So it's going to go from the wall, cover the length of the recess, which is 68 inches, the recession, and then a little bit more. So the whole length of the bar with the top on it is going to be about 78.5 inches, 78.
Okay. So it's going from the wall in the corner all the way out past the recession and then a little bit farther towards a hallway.
Yep. Towards a hallway there. Okay. So we'll be able to just push it back up against the wall and then pull it forward when we want to. Nice. Mainly, it'll mostly stay out forward. And then when we need to extend the living room table, that's when we'll push the bar back kind of thing. Yeah.
Nice. What are you doing in the recession then?
We're going to leave the wine nook there. So it's going to have the wine bottle rack, the wine rack, plus the two wine fridges. And I'm thinking about building and filling in that whole wall with one giant wine rack.
Oh, cool.
And building it off of the wall rather than having a freestanding wine rack that we have now. So it'll be stronger. It'll be more of like a full-on wine nook then at that point. And then the bar itself, inside of the bar, will be one of the kegerator fridges. And we're going to put a little deep freezer in there.
Oh, wow.
As well. And the deep freezer is going to be on a slide-out shelf so that we can slide it out of the bar and open up the top to it to get inside it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you're doing one kegerator?
One kegerator, and the goal, I think, is to get 2, beers on tap, and have them out of 5-gallon longer cylinders rather than like a pony keg.
Yeah. Cylinder kegs, I guess. Yeah.
5-gallon ones.
Yeah. Cylinder kegs are the tall, skinny ones. Pony kegs are the short, squat ones.
Yep.
And then it's a half barrel.
Okay.
A keg is like 15.5 gallons or something like that.
Okay.
And then they have bigger ones too, but you don't get them.
You don't get not for kegerators.
Not for kegerators. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be really cool. We're just waiting for the bar top to come in. Once the bar top is in, then we'll paint it and seal it all up and get finished.
Cool.
And then put into its place there in the living room.
And then you need to figure out a name for the bar.
I do.
Because every bar needs a name.
It does?
Yeah.
Is that a rule?
Absolutely. Okay. It's like ships.
It's like ships and cars.
And we got to christen it by just having a drunken party.
Nice. That'll be fun.
But yeah, like my college bar was called After Midnight.
Okay.
So that's what, and
that's right. Nick had a bar too that had a name too. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't Andy's bar?
So did Andy. Yeah.
That's right. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Every bar needs a name.
Okay.
I feel like every vehicle needs a name.
Yeah.
But that way you can say where you're going.
Okay.
Right. And it doesn't sound like you're just drinking at home.
Perfect. I like that.
You're like, I'm going to head over to T&S bar.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
But you don't need, bar's not up and running yet. So you don't need a name yet.
No. Yeah. We'll see. There's I want to put some LED lights underneath the bar, so it has like a downwards glow to everything
on the outside,
on the exterior. Yep.
Okay, cool. Is it tiered? Like, do you have a counter and a bar top that are over the top of each other?
Nope, just one counter. Got it. One counter at 44 inches tall. So most bars or countertops are 36 to 42 inches, and I want it a little bit taller.
Yeah.
So we can put any bar stool under it that we want. So
is the top planning to be overhang like a seating area?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. 11, 12 inch overhang on there.
Wow.
So
that's cool. That's going to be fun.
Yeah. It'll be fun to, once the bar top comes in, to put the top on it and then kind of really see it.
So you got a piece of wood
shape.
that's like 70 something inches long.
Yeah. 78.
and it's wide enough to have to cover the bar that you're building and extend out for like seating.
Yeah. It's technically, so what it is I didn't find a tree live edge that was as wide and big as I wanted. So I ended up looking around at different places, and Home Depot has big butcher blocks with fake live edges on them. Huh. And so it's a butcher block. Thank you. But it's designed to be like an island in a kitchen.
Right.
An island top in a kitchen. So that's essentially how big it is.
That's a big island.
Yep.
Dang.
Yeah, it'll be fun once it gets in, and to put it on the bar top and see it all kind of come together.
That's gonna be heavy.
Come together. So I'm thinking about taking the Dremel and carving out some sections in it and putting like a neon epoxy into them before we stain it and finish it and seal it up.
And writing something, or just doing a design?
Yeah, a random design of some sort. So
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something fun up there. I mean, you can always stain it and then like Dremel in, or router in a design later, and then put it in and stain it again. Yeah. So I mean, that wouldn't be too difficult. It's just more work.
Yeah. So in order to do that project, I talked to the secretary and was like, I would totally get this project done, quote unquote, if I had new battery tools.
Oh.
Because
I like the way you think.
Yes, because she at first she wasn't a big take on the bar, and as I've been talking about it and showed her the kegerator set up, and was like, we can have beer on tap whenever we want. And now, like over the past couple months, she's been bugging me. When are you going to do my bar? When are you going to build my bar?
My bar,
exactly. Yeah.
My bar.
Yes. And so I was like, I would get this project done like in a weekend probably if I had new battery tools and I could do it easier.
I'm picturing sexy secretary lounge.
Yeah. Yep. And so I went out and bought a bunch of battery tools. That, and with me blowing up my alternator due to plugging in tools into it and forgetting to flip the tool circuit switch.
I want to talk to you about that a little later.
Okay. So I ended up getting a 4.5 inch grinder, a drill, 1/4 inch impact. I already had the 1/2 inch impact. I thought there was something else. But 20 volt, the DeWalt 20 volt systems.
Oh, wow.
So
cool.
Yeah. So I got those, and it definitely, I mean, I threw the whole bar together in 9 hours of time, maybe.
Dang.
Yeah. It's on 6 casters. And so the weight load of the casters should be about 1,600 pounds total.
That should be That should do it.
That should do just fine.
I mean, that live edge butcher block is going to be heavy though.
It weighs about 80 pounds, I think. So 70 to 80. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So
I expected more.
Yeah. That butcher block is going to weigh as much as one of the plates on top of my toolboxes.
Right.
So anyways, it's that came along. I got that all done. And then that was last weekend. And then this last weekend, the one we just got done with, I had like no plans whatsoever.
Nice.
And I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know. What do we do? I don't know how this works.
I now have that problem for the upcoming weekend.
Okay.
Because the Rubicon's closed. Marlin Crawler Roundup has been canceled.
Right. Yeah.
The assistant is going out of town because she thought I was going to be out of town. The mini assistant is going to be at her father's house.
You're a bachelor for a week. You get a bachelor weekend at home.
You're going to find me at like some bar in downtown Roseville, like it laying on the bathroom floor. Yeah. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. So
I'll turn on an APRS if you guys want to come and hang out.
There we go. All right. Just look up KJ1MMY on APRS. But yeah, I didn't have any plans. And so I was like, I don't know how this is going to go because I don't sit around very well. I always have to be doing something. The secretary helped out. She goes, "Hey, let's go do some stuff." And I was like, perfect. Cause I don't know what I'm going to do otherwise.
Sure.
And so we went wine tasting Saturday. And then we were going to have a big old pasta making day on Sunday where we make our own pasta and just do a bunch of stuffed tortellinis, do some stuffed raviolis, do some lasagna strips.
Nice. You're going to make the pasta?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a
From
pasta.
scratch?
Mm-hmm.
From flour?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, we ended up getting a pasta cutter thing for pasta cutter kit for Christmas. And so we've done it twice now, and it just creates the biggest freaking mess in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Dude, it's stupid. And so like, I never want to do it because I'm like, it's just too much of a mess. It's not worth it to me. But I was like, I've got a full free day. Let's have a pasta making day.
Yeah.
Ended up not doing that.
You went wine tasting instead? Is that
so
the day?
Saturday we went wine tasting, and when we got back from wine tasting, I went and tore into Kermit a little bit.
Oh.
So I tore out the 2-watt jumper cable line that we ran for the stock alternator that we got in South Lake.
Sure. Yep.
Took the alternator out. And then when the past few trips, I've been going out. Usually when I go out on trips, I'm going out at nighttime or in the morning. So it's not really hot during the day yet in summertime. And the last couple of trips, I went out like in the middle of the afternoon. And the engine is still doing that weird thing in in Kermit, where the ECU is reading like 220 to 230 degrees. The upper radiator hose is like 210 to 215, and the lower radiator hose is like 160. And so I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And like the gauge on the dash doesn't really move until the ECU gets to like 235. And then all of a sudden from like 235 to 240, it moves half of the gauge.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm like, that just...
So it goes from like center to 3/4.
Yeah. In 5 degrees of temperature. And otherwise from like 180 degrees to 225, 230, the gauge on the cluster doesn't move at all. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I think that it's definitely getting hot, hotter than it should at least.
Yeah.
I don't think one of the sensors is not reading properly. I need to figure out what is accurate data before I dig in and start trying to change out parts, right?
Sure. Makes sense.
And so I don't know. I don't know if the ECU sensor is reading off of one of the sensors on the like from the outside of the block, or if it's like in the cylinder heads and it's reading the cylinder head temps, and like, where is that sensor located at? I don't know. I just haven't looked into it yet. I was like, it kind of acts like it's behaving sort of like the thermostat is stuck open. Like it just slowly climbs up as I'm climbing hills, as I'm driving around, or like the last trip as we were coming back from the Rubicon, going downhill with the air conditioning on freeway speeds, it was still just creeping up temperature wise.
Sure. Right.
And I was like, that I've never had it creeping up temperature going downhill before. No matter what the temperature, ambient temperature has been. And I'm like, that's weird. So I ended up pulling the thermostat on it and testing the thermostat, and it was good. It opens and closes at 180. So I'm like, man, that's weird. Okay, so the thermostat's working. In order to check the thermostat on the 3.4, the thermostat is down at the water pump. It's not like a 22RE where it's right there at the upper radiator hose, right?
Interesting. Okay.
And so in order to check the thermostat, you have to drain the coolant. You have to drain the whole system pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yep. So I drained the whole system and the coolant came out crystal clear. No, nothing milky, cloudy, no chunks of anything in there, no dirt, no debris.
Perfect. Reuse it. Right.
So I was like, man, okay. So the coolant, there's nothing, it doesn't seem like there's any blockages going on. There's no corrosion going on. The thermostat's working correctly. And the only thing I can come down to is that the radiator just doesn't have enough capacity for what I'm trying to push the vehicle for.
Maybe. What about having too much stuff in front of the radiator so it's not getting the air required?
I mean, that could be as well, but I have an electric fan that's pulling air through the radiator no matter what.
Yeah.
And like the
Maybe
whole
you should
upper
pull
half.
out your condenser and see how it works.
No, can't do that. Not unless I relocate the condenser. That has been another kind of like my last ditch option is to relocate the condenser and put it on its own fan.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I would relocate it to or anything. That's the next thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
So anyways, I looked in and the radiator I have is only a 2-core radiator. The guy I got it from, which is a listener, Tim, when he got it, he said that he got it for his 22RE and was putting it in. So, but he never said whether it was a V6 radiator or a 22RE, and I just haven't taken measurements of it to see either way. But it seems like it sticks up quite a bit. And usually that V6 radiator sticks up quite a bit.
Yeah, that was my issue in Moab a few years ago when I had the radiator problem. When I cracked it, I had a hard time finding a radiator, but I've got a V6 radiator and put it in, but it sticks up pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
So if it sticks up high, then my guess is it's a V6.
That would be my guess too, but it's a 2-core V6. So I'm wondering if...
So is mine. I'm pretty sure.
Interesting. The radiator's working. I mean, when I take measurements of the temperatures on the upper radiator hose, it's easily about 60 degrees difference from the lower radiator hose.
Okay.
So it is working, but I guess it's just not working enough for what I'm pushing the engine for. That's the only thing I think of. So I ordered up a new radiator with a bigger capacity and more cores.
Cool.
So it's a 3-core, larger capacity.
Do you know the make and model that vehicle that has that radiator?
The setup for the 3.0 or the 3.4 Toyota engine for the radiator mounts and everything in the Toyota vehicles. So
it should mount up to yours?
It should mount up. If it's a little tall, then I'll just drill new holes and drop it down a little bit.
Yeah, I know that since Bobcat had a body lift, they have these little brackets that you put the bolt through the original hole, and then it has a piece of metal that sticks up, and then it has a bolt that comes out the other direction. And then instead of using bolts to throw the radiator on, you use just the nuts to put it over the place. Yeah. And so it has more or less a lift kit for the radiator.
Yeah.
Move it up or down, whatever. In this case, you wanted to move the radiator lower
down so it stays in front of the fan on the engine. Yeah.
And so maybe there's some sort of option for you that direction too. Maybe instead of drilling new holes, maybe you can find some like 1-inch adapter radiator movement plates.
Yeah.
Or something.
Maybe. I'm waiting right now for the radiator to show up so I can
figure that
out. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully it bolts up.
Yeah.
That'd be the best solution, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. So right now on order for the 4Runner, I have a lot of stuff on order for the 4Runner, but the short list to get it operational again so I can move it out of the driveway if I need to is the alternator from Premier. I sent that in to get rebuilt.
Got it.
So they're working on it, I believe, today and tomorrow, and then shipping it on back. So
where's Premier located? Bay Area?
Near Yucca Valley.
Oh, Yucca Valley.
SoCal.
Okay, SoCal. Outside of Bakersfield.
They're more down like right near Johnson Valley.
Okay.
So near the San Bernardino area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. High desert.
Yep. So I sent that down to them to get rebuilt. I have the radiator on its way in. And then also I need to pull my exhaust and I need to weld up that crack in my exhaust.
You have a exhaust leak.
I have like a 10-inch long crack in my exhaust.
Wow.
The exhaust tube. So I got to weld that up. So anyways, I started working on those projects Saturday after wine tasting. And then Sunday, I went and did some welding 60 feet up high on a ham radio tower.
Yeah. Where was that?
Up in Placerville.
Oh, okay.
So my father-in-law has a buddy who has a Roan 45 tower from, I forget the name of the tower place. It's like America Tower, something like that. I don't remember what it's called. Anyways, Roan 45 tower, and the top sections that come together onto the main top support, one of them, the welds just popped off.
Oh, dang.
Like whoever did the robotic welding during production wasn't set properly, or the metal wasn't cleaned properly, and the welds just didn't hold. They just didn't penetrate at all into the main support in the center.
So how did you get a welding machine 60 feet up in the air?
So I have that little Yes welder, stick welder. That's the dual voltage 110, 220. It's like the size of an ammo can almost.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
I hear that a lot.
That was a good one. I'll give you that. That was good.
So yeah, it's a little dual voltage stick welder.
You got a decent extension cord.
I had a long extension cord, which remember that there was about 150 feet of extension cord to run it out of the guy's garage into his backyard, up the tower. And then I have all those tethers, the gear wrench tether tools. So I have all those tethers and use those. And I set up a little welding shop up on top of the tower.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Setting up the welder up on top of the tower was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It worked out. I had everything tethered to the tower. I had 2 buckets clipped to the tower to hold the wire brush, the chipping hammer, extra rod, some angle iron, the Dremel. No, I had the Dremel on its own tether hanging there. I had the main electrical cord to run everything was tied to the tower, and then had the main plug just dangling off the tower there. And then I tied the Dremel's electrical and the welder's electrical to the electrical cable so that I could just unplug and plug each one in as I needed it.
Right.
And then I had the grinder and the sander for the Dremel. And then I had the welder hanging off of 2 tethers on the other side of the tower.
So how many times did you have to climb the tower to get everything up there?
Just once.
What?
Yeah. So
Seriously?
Yeah. What you do when you're getting up onto the top of a tower to get stuff up and down is you take a pulley up with you.
A rope. Okay, smart.
Yeah. You take a 200-foot rope and a pulley up with you, and you set the pulley up on top of the tower, and then people on the ground move everything up and down the tower for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Smart. Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So did you get enough power to the welder for such a long run?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We needed to use a thicker gauge extension cable cords coming out of the garage, but I brought a 10-3 extension cord that was 60, 70 feet long, but the cord coming from the garage to there was, 16-3, something like that. And so it wouldn't have mattered. We needed 2 of my 12-3s in order to run enough amperage.
Sure.
So pretty much what I had to do, and it was galvanized steel.
Oh.
And so you don't want to weld galvanized steel.
No, that's bad.
Unless you're in a very well ventilated area with a respirator. And so I took the Dremel and cleaned off all the galvanizing, the zinc coating that I could. And then I had to do a bunch of tack welds, because it would have just enough power to kind of get it going and run the bead for 1.5, 2 seconds. And then it wouldn't have enough power anymore to keep it going.
Oh.
And so I had to sit there. It took me 2 hours.
Just tack.
Then clean it off. I have to chip it and clean it off because it's all flux, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then tack, chip, clean it off, tack, chip, clean it off.
Wow.
For about 2 hours. I was
Bummer.
in all my welding gear up on top of this tower, and it's 90 degrees outside.
Oh.
It was so hot.
At least it wasn't 116 or whatever we got up to.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it that week. I would have died up there.
We didn't talk about that, did we?
Mm-mm.
Sacramento broke a record. Downtown Sacramento broke a record for the hottest day ever recorded.
Yep.
I think it was 116.
Yep. 115 was the hottest day, but was the 114 was the record.
114 was the record. I think we got to 115.
Yeah.
Something like that. We broke the record for most days over 100 degrees in a calendar year, which was 41, and we got up to 43.
Yeah.
We were also 1 day short of the record for most consecutive days over 105 degrees.
Yeah. Jeez.
So we had a pretty crazy heat wave up here.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? If you you think about,
and I think on the podcast, we said that the record was from 2021.
That was the previous, I think 113 or something like that.
The hottest day on record previously was from 1925.
Yeah.
Which was when it got up to 114.
Yeah.
So we broke that record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of records were broken. Was that last week?
It was last week.
Jesus.
Yeah.
In all of California for heat wave stuff. So Yeah, it was brutal last week.
It was. And I left, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So you bunch of tack welds, you're up on a tower, it's hot.
Mm-hmm. But got it all done.
Okay.
Got it done and then sealed it up. The guy had some white primer that he wanted on it all. So sprayed it all down with white primer, let it dry off and then sprayed it again. And then that was it. So that whole, the whole weld being up on top of the tower took about 2 hours. But getting everything set up, getting all the gear there, that was probably a 5-hour trip and all together.
Wow.
Yeah. But that was fun.
Yeah, I bet. that sounds exciting.
I had a great time with it. It was a lot of fun.
Did you have a good view?
Not really. The guy's backyard is pretty closed in with trees. And a lot of the trees up in that area are pine trees. So they're taller than 60 feet. So there wasn't really that good of a view, but you could hear CAL FIRE planes flying by very closely.
Sure.
Up there. For the mosquito. Yeah.
Do trees affect the radio waves?
Not really. You've got to have, you got to be like right up on a tree, like within an inch of the trunk in order for it to affect the radio waves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll work its way around that. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that was fun. So I'm waiting. My father-in-law said he got some pictures of me up there with the whole setup and me while I was welding. So I'm waiting for him to send those pictures over.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll see that on a reel here soon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sweet.
But yeah, those are my 2 weekends.
Nice. Yeah. I don't know what I did 2 weekends ago. What did I do? I'm asking.
I don't remember. What was I doing what were you doing while I was building the bar?
I'm trying to look back at my calendar. There's not a whole lot there.
We have to look back through our text messages.
Yeah. So I think I went out wine tasting and hanging out with the assistant's friends on Saturday. And then I think that was Labor Day weekend 2 weekends ago, right? So then Sunday we did a lot of housework, honeydews, getting things ready because we were getting the mini assistant back on Monday and we wanted to have some fun and relax a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did just some playing around, relaxing. We did a lot of indoor activities, playing some board games, played a little bit of the Wii, did some puzzles. We have this really cool like state puzzle it ends up being like 2 feet by 4 feet or something like that of the continental United States. And then Alaska and Hawaii are kind of off in a corner.
Okay.
But it's kind of fun. Like I know where the states go.
Okay.
You know, so it's like when I pick up a piece, I know more or less where
it goes over in this.
It goes over in the Northeast or in the Central or, Pacific Northwest, but the mini assistant has no idea. So she's going by puzzle pieces. Like how does the piece fit together? I'm going by the geolocation of where the state is, and they're not built by state. It's like, like one piece might encompass the 4 corners. And so it has some of each state, so it's not so much state by state. It's more of a puzzle of the continental United States. Okay. And it's huge. So it's kind of fun we got a half an hour. Let's build that puzzle, it's like 25, 30 pieces or something, it goes pretty quick. So that was fun.
Nice.
And then this last weekend, we got out of Dodge. We were here for the hottest day ever on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we left and drove down to Southern California. And we went to Disneyland on Thursday, Disney California Adventure on Friday, and Universal Studios on Saturday, and then drove home on Sunday.
Nice. Okay.
We had a great time. It was
the triple play, huh? Or was that 4 places you went?
Yeah, it was 3.
3. Okay.
3 places, triple. For the most part. I mean, maybe we could add a Legoland in there in another day, but it was crazy. Did everything at Disneyland for the most part. The new Star Wars thing is sweet.
Really?
And if you like Star Wars and you like that kind of that universe, you are completely engulfed in it when you step into that area. It's really cool. They've got spaceships laying around. Like went into the bathroom and like a random bathroom in that area, and it looked like a starship had crashed, and there's like things like the dividers for the urinals were like ribs of a spaceship. It was really kind of cool. It was a lot of fun. We were there fairly early. We tried to get on the main ride. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but it was closed down. It was kind of funny. So you go to Disneyland and then you pay a few $100 to get in the door, and then they have their fast pass set up, which is now called Genie Plus, and that costs $20 per person to do it. The main attraction ride in the Star Wars area is not included on the fast pass, but you can buy it separately for another $20. And it was closed in the morning, like for an hour or so, because my guess is they wanted a lot of people to start showing up and waiting in line. So then you buy the special pass, and run it. At least that's what I'm thinking. I mean, maybe it was having some sort of technical difficulties, but I think they're like, if we don't open this one ride for a while, there'll be a bigger line and more people want to.
We get an extra $10,000 that day.
Exactly. Yeah. So we went to that ride, saw that it was closed, turned around, and then we went to the Millennium Falcon and walked around that for a little bit. And when you buy the Genie Pass, Genie Plus Pass or whatever they call it, it includes all the photos. So any rides you go on and they snap photos, you can they're all digital. So you can download those. And then any of the people in the park that are standing around to take photos of you and your family, and it includes all those. So when we got to the Millennium Falcon, there was a guy there like, well, let's get our photo taken. And so we got our photos in front of the Millennium Falcon. And then right around the corner is the cafe or the cantina.
The cantina, yeah.
And so we went in there, and at like 8:30 in the morning, and the assistant and I are in there I had a Bloody Mary, and she had some, it was really good. It was like a hibiscus tea / brandy thing. It was super tasty. Yeah. And she had this weird flower in it. I was like, is this edible? And the lady's like, yeah. We're like, ate the flower. It was super tasty though. And then the mini assistant had some boba drink that had
Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Was it?
No, but it was a playoff that, but it had like pineapple juice and orange juice, and then boba balls or whatever, boba tea balls.
You got Boba's balls in there?
Yeah, two of them. There's two really big balls in there. No.
Okay.
And then after that, we checked the line. It was still closed. You can check on the app, which I would highly suggest anybody download the app. So then we went to another ride, and right after, we went to the Haunted Mansion.
Okay.
Which on September 3rd, all of Disneyland area became Halloween themed.
Oh,
and so everything was Halloween themed. The whole Haunted Mansion looked like Jack Skellington and the Boogeyman and Nightmare Before Christmas-esque. It was a lot of fun.
Okay.
And when we were in line for that, we realized that the Star Wars ride opened. And so we ditched that line and we went and got into the Star Wars line. They said it was about a 45-minute wait, but I don't know if it was. It was probably a little shorter. However, that ride was amazing.
Really?
It was so cool. You jump. It was neat because when you get into line, there's some interaction that you do throughout the line. So the line didn't seem very long, but before you get to the ride, you've kind of done 3 or 4.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Semi-small little rides.
Okay.
Like they brought a group into some ship and they're like, okay, now we're going to send you guys off to this location.
Interesting.
And it's just, you all stand there in like a cable car looking thing and it moves around and bounces around. And then they shuffle you into a room where they had like 40 stormtroopers and like 2 or 3 guys kind of like, okay, you guys need to line up and get ready to go through this door and become interrogated, and then... you go through, they open the door once that other group's gone in front of you. And then you move into there, and then that's when they sort of divide you into what space in the actual ride you're going to be in. And then it was just neat because they just kept moving you throughout.
It's an interactive
mini games, right? Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
So that was fun. And then the whole ride was really neat. You jump into these cars, little tiny cars, and they somehow move around on the ground on their wheels, but they're not attached to the ground like with a rod. Like it's not following a track, but it is in one way or another.
Yeah.
So it's either like electromagnets or they're like programmed and know how far forward and how far back and what to move. But that was really neat. And then it was, you were people working for the Republic and you were captured, and then you went onto a starship, and then the Republic was coming to save you. And it was about you escaping the starship and getting out. And Kylo Ren was there, and he was like cutting down walls and like, shooting at you. And It was really cool. And they had like TV screens, unreal these days.
Yeah.
You know, that they had like a wall that was one TV screen, you know, and you just were like, you looked out into space, you know, and you were looking through a hangar and stormtroopers running around, and it was just nuts. It was crazy.
Interesting.
It was really cool. And the mini assistant had a lot of fun. Even the Millennium Falcon ride was pretty cool. And that one, when you get up to the front, you jump into the Millennium Falcon and you have 2 pilots, 2 gunners, and 2 engineers. And then you have to do I think it actually somewhat, the pilot goes faster. One of the pilots goes faster and slower. One of the pilots goes right and left. The gunners have to hit certain buttons at certain times. And the engineers, whenever like somebody hits something, the engineers light up and you have to hit these buttons to fix it. And so we did that ride twice because we got on there early and the line was short. So we didn't use our lightning pass. And so we got on there, and the assistant and mini assistant were pilots, and they were flying. And you have to get some item, some core or something like that. And we got 2 cores on the first time we did it. And the second time the gunners weren't firing fast enough, or the pilots weren't good enough or something, because the mini assistant was a gunner and then the assistant and I were engineers, and we only got 1 core the second time. So it actually isn't the same storyline for how the people interact with the game.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. And then
it'd be fun to kind of see that set up with, while trying to do a Kessel run.
A what?
The Kessel run.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Run. No,
I'm sure
that'd be cool.
they can change it in the future. And there's a whole area that's still blocked off that you can't go in, that has like bomb bay doors shut. And so they're going to expand that area. I'm pretty sure. I really, really wish they had, I just lost the name, but in the first movie when they did the pod racing, I wish they had some sort of pod racing game. I think that'd be, or ride. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But then then we went everywhere else. We did everything that you pretty much could possibly do in Disneyland in a day. And we got the assistant got 31,000 steps.
Jeez.
That day. I either take bigger strides or my watch doesn't calculate it as fast or something. And I got a high 20 something thousand.
Okay.
And but to some extent, some of that is the ride.
Yeah.
Right.
As
just
you're bouncing around
on a ride. And I'm sure it's counting them as steps.
So,
the second day we went to and it was like 102 degrees that day. So we blasted through waters. We did bring a water that had vodka in it, or a water bottle that had vodka. And so we went and got some lemonades and made some, spiked lemonades and, beat the system a little bit that way. We also stayed at a hotel that was not next to Disneyland, but it was on the backside of the parking lot of Disneyland.
Okay.
And so when all we had to do was walk across the street, walk through the parking lot, and then we could enter Disneyland there. And they do your security check and everything, that for the most part there. Then you get on a bus and then they drive you past the security checkpoint on your way in. And then you just check tickets as you walk through. So we skipped the whole check line.
Oh, nice.
By this other camp spot or this other hotel spot, which was super nice.
Yeah.
The next day we went to Disney California Adventure and it rained on us.
After being 102.
It was still hot. It was still humid, and from noon to like 9 p.m. it rained.
Was that the day that the tropical storm hit land?
Yep.
In SoCal?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And so it had like a 45% chance of rain when we went to bed, and when we woke up the next day, it was like 95% chance of rain, and we're like, oh crud. So that first day we immediately tried to went into Cars Land and tried to do that ride. It was closed. Went over to the Adventureland and do the Spider-Man ride. It was closed. Went to do the Incredicoaster in Pixar Pier. It goes upside down, and the mini assistant has never done a ride that goes upside down. So she was kind of freaking out, but she really wanted to do it.
Okay.
When we did the ride and she got off and she's like, I want to do that again. And we're like, sweet. And so we just went right back into line and we did that again.
You're really just training her for rollovers in Bobcat.
Pretty much, right? We went on their Ferris wheel. Boring Ferris wheel. But they had a swinging part of like every other car was a swinging car like carriage or whatever you want. It was fully enclosed, like expanded metal all the way around this thing. But they had every other one was like a normal.
How did the welds look on it?
I didn't look. Every other one had a normal, like you're on a rod that's just normally across, and it kind of just sort of swings freely, so that it's always facing down as it goes around, right?
Okay.
The other one had like an oblong loop track.
Interesting.
And so when you got to like at 3 o'clock, or let's say 9 o'clock, because it was going clockwise, when you got to like just past 9 o'clock, the whole carriage would roll away, and then you start to get to the apex of the loop, and you just like almost get 90 degrees out, and swing back and forth there at the end. And then when you got to the top, you're sort of stuck down at the very bottom of it, and then it starts rolling the other way, and you roll out and around. And so it was pretty fun riding that thing. It was unique. I've never been on a Ferris wheel like that. So the mini assistant was kind of like, I don't want to go on a Ferris wheel. Those are boring. They're slow, but she likes carousels. So I don't quite get that. But when we did that swinging one, she was like, whoa, this is different. This is neat. you know? And then about that time it started to rain, but we jumped but that's when Cars Land was pretty much fully open. And so we got on the Cars race, the one with Flash McQueen. And
I've never seen Cars.
Oh, it's fun. You should see it. And which is really cool is because they have a whole downtown. It looks like the small town in Cars.
Oh.
And so you walk in and there's like Luigi's tire change place. There's the V8 cafe. There's the Cone cafe, and you're walking through downtown Cars Land, and it looks like downtown in the movie.
Okay.
And so the car race was fun. We got on it once. It was also one of those things where it's like we paid for the lightning passes, but that one wasn't included in the lightning pass. So we had to wait in that line. And then we went over and did this adventures area where we went on the Star Wars or the Spider-Man ride, which is somewhat cool because they must have some sort of sensors out. And whenever you throw a punch or a jab out in front of you, it shoots webs in the game at like these little spider creatures out there that they made. And all the spider creatures are taking over this warehouse, and you're helping Spider-Man collect them all. And so you're standing out there doing all these like jabs and racking up points. And then at the end, they show you who got what points, what are the top points for the last hour, the last day, the last week. And you see how you kind of rank and how your cart ranks. What was neat about that, and we didn't do it, they sell upgrades at the gift shop.
So you can get like explosive webbing or something?
Yes. Or double shots, or so you wear this Spider-Man glove and like it does different features.
That's great.
And so you get back into line and you can
beat your score.
You can beat your score. You can do all these upgrades. So I was like,
that's funny.
Dude, marketing genius right there, right? About that time, it started raining and almost everything shut down. So we had a few hours to kill. And so we went and watched a movie. We went into a bunch of gift shops. We went inside and got some food. And then it slowed down in rain and some things started opening up. We went on the Goofy ride. We went on the swings, the like thing that spins around, and it's just a swing and it throws you out sideways as it spins.
Yep.
Those were kind of fun, and the mini assistant had a good time on that. And then we stayed until like late in the evening at like 9:30. They had their like color of their light show go on. And it's like the Bellagio where it's these water things shoot up and they must have different color LEDs in the light where it shoots from or something. And so each pod can light up as different colors. And it was interesting because they would be able to shoot. Either they could change the lights and the light would stay inside the water at different times. So it could be candy canes looking.
Oh, interesting.
But they also had projectors from the outside that were shooting out at the water. Okay. And they would do this huge fan of water and they would project onto the water.
Wow.
So like they played songs like Ariel's, like Under the Sea and the Lion Kings. And they did these like mashup of a bunch of different songs projected onto water being sprayed up into the air.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then it was a whole color thing. So they were just all these different colors and lights, and they played the Pirates of the Caribbean thing, and it was like fire was going out, and it was really cool. And so
I would spend way too much time there just trying to figure out how it all works.
So that's what I did at Universal Studios.
Okay.
So that day we went to bed. The assistant got 32,000 steps that day.
Wow.
And there was a lot of walking that day because there was times when everything was closed.
Yeah.
When we looked at, we didn't do the hopper passes, but we looked at Disneyland and everything was open because almost everything at Disneyland's indoors.
Okay.
But everything at California Adventure, or a lot of California Adventures, outside. So when it started raining, they're like, oh yeah, we can't run the roller coasters or we can't do any of this. So it was sort of a bummer that we didn't do the hopper passes because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But so we went home or went back to the hotel that night, spent the night, slept there, woke up early in the morning, drove up to Hollywood. And then went to Universal Studios and immediately beelined right towards Harry Potter Land. Which once again, like Star Wars Land and like Cars Land, you are just immersed. Like you walk through these gates and it says Hogsmeade, I think is what it's called.
Yep. The town.
Mm-hmm. And you walk in and you're like, Yep,
I'm in Hogsmeade.
I'm in Hogsmeade. It looks exactly like it. And it had snow on the up there, and I think the snow's permanent.
Okay.
I don't think it was a seasonal thing. But and the buildings look like it from the movies, and there's like diagonally off to one direction, and they had the Weasley brothers like joke shop, and then some candy shop, and then Ollivander's wand shop, and we did the tour of Ollivander's wand shop, and and then right as you come out of that, you go into a wand shop and you can choose a wand and you can have generic wand. They had every like character's wand, and then they had random wands in case you didn't want a character's wand. And then they had basic wands or upgrade wands.
Of course.
And the upgrade wands are interactive with things in the park.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. In Harry Potter.
In the Harry Potter land. Yeah.
And so you walk, there's like 12 to 15 stations that you can walk to, and they have plaques on the ground, and they point with an arrow, and it shows the move you need to do with the wand and the phrase you need to say. And I don't know if the phrase matters, but it said like, whatever Levitosus or whatever it is to lift somebody up, and it has this move. And then when you do that, like usually it was a window or something happened in the window. And so there was this one spot where it was like, start moving and stop moving, and these plates would spin.
Okay.
And so you could do the move and you could start moving and these plates spun, and then you do the move, say stop, and they stopped, and there was a door that like you could lock it and unlock it. And there was like this one that you could like start fire, and it like this like burst of fire would come out of a chimney, and it was, it was cool. You walk around and like, you're kind of doing magic, to some extent. And so that was pretty fun. But the ride there was fantastic. It got me a little nauseous, actually.
Really?
It was pretty weird, but it was have you done like Soaring California or, now they call it Soaring, like the world over in Disney. So it's one of those that you sit down in a chair, and then you pull something down over the top of you, and then it lifts up and there's nothing below you. Like you're on a crane or a hand. You're at the end of this thing.
The claw
kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
And you're, so you're out and over everything. And so then you go off and you're in this, like, they like put you in front of a screen, and it's Harry Potter and like Ron Weasley and Hermione. And they're talking about how something's happening, and you've got to grab a broom, and you need to follow them. And, they're trying to escape a dragon or something like that. And then all of a sudden you're now moving through the castle.
Okay.
Right. And you're actually in real life like this, moving through this castle. And then all of a sudden there's another screen in front of you, but you still feel yourself moving physically.
Okay.
And now you've ran through the castle, and now you're flying on the broom.
Okay.
Right. And you're flying all around. And then all of a sudden you're back in front of in real life, you're back in front of a castle, and you're walking down this hallway. And then you're back in front of a screen, and you're moving, like flying through the forest or something like that. And I was like, how are they doing this? Because you're literally moving the whole time.
Okay.
But do they have like a long screen and a projection? And when they're moving you up and down and flying you around, your screen, like the projector's on top of the thing and it's moving with you.
Yeah.
You know, and how are they moving this arm through the castle?
Yeah.
Because you're literally in the Hogwarts castle. And so for a good section of that ride, I was like trying to look at how they're physically
What's
doing
going on
this.
around
And
you,
so
yeah.
what I found out is that arm was on like a train car
Okay.
chassis and it was on wheels. Right. And so it was moving on a track
Okay.
on the ground. And then when the screens came in front of you, it was a screen that was on another track that literally came in front of you and moved with you on another arm.
For a different,
Right, and it
okay,
was
for a
like-
section of the track of the ride.
Yes. And it was concave. So it gave you this 3D effect. And there, I don't know if it was backlit or front lit, but so yeah, because one time I saw the edge of one of the screens and I was like, oh, so it's perfectly matching you whenever you're moving, you know, and then the screen went away as you went into reality.
The next section. Yeah.
And so what got me really loopy was, I think, trying to transition from a TV screen to reality to a TV screen to reality, all while moving.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one was that, but the ride was awesome.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And it was another one of the ones, like it had the longest line, like a 90-minute wait time to get into that thing.
Okay.
But we got in there early, but there was different sections. Like you went through Dumbledore's study, you went through the Gryffindor common room, you went through the sorting hat area, you went through all these things while you're in line, you know, and there was a section where you walk through like a hallway and the pictures were talking to each other. Like they're TV screens, right? But they're talking to each other. So that was really cool to be like immersed into it.
Yeah.
The rest of the day we went like Universal Studios has like an upper section and a lower section. We went down to the lower section. There was a mummy ride, there was a Transformer ride, and then there was a water Jurassic Park ride, which was a lot of fun. They did a really good job of like distracting you right before you did the really big fall.
Okay.
And so we're all looking up at like this dinosaur coming down at us, and then the boat goes down the hill. And you're like, whoa, wasn't ready for that. Yeah, so that was fun. We went back up, and then we went and watched a Waterworld show. The shows there were outstanding.
Yeah.
Like if you end up going to Universal Studios, go to the shows. Like they were cool. We went and watched a Waterworld show. Then we went and watched how they train like pets. And so it was like an animal show. Then we went into the Minion Land and did that. And then we went to Springfield Simpsons Land and did some of that. And then we ended up back in Harry Potter area and pretty much let the kid go wild. We had butterbeer, which was like a cream, like not ale. It wasn't beer actually, because they didn't have it. They had alcohol there, but they didn't. The butterbeer wasn't alcoholic. It was like I want to say cream ale.
Cream soda.
Cream soda. Thank you.
Okay.
And then they put some frothing on top to make it look like it had, the head of a beer. We did have Duff beer though. And when we went to,
Land?
in Simpson Land, we did, somebody makes a beer specifically for
That's fun.
Simpson Land. And we had some Duff beer. So that was pretty cool. All in all, it was a great trip. It was exhausting though. We were not like waking up at 6 a.m. nonstop, go back to a hotel, go to bed. It was crazy busy. And yeah, so we got home on Sunday and we're like zonked. Like it was a great holiday, great getaway, but man, kicked our butt.
Okay.
But
nice.
I don't know if I would have done it differently though, because like, I probably could have spent more time at Disneyland like another day, but then you're spending a few $100 more just to have another day, where it's like $250 a ticket to get into Disneyland or something like that per day, not Hopper Pass. And then it was another $20 per person to buy the Genie Plus setup. And with that, we were able to do pretty much nonstop go. We did pretty much everything in Disneyland and Disney California Adventure.
Jeez.
So we did save ourselves probably a few $100 by just doing it nonstop, but it sure was rough. But it was for the mini assistant's birthday. Her birthday was on the 12th. and she's turning 9, and she had a ball. She had a great time. You know, she bought a Tinkerbell, like grandparents gave her Disney bucks. She bought a Tinkerbell costume for Halloween, wings, crown, dress, shoes, all. You know, she's going to look freaking adorable in it. We bought her the interactive wand in the Harry Potter land. She was running around trying to cast spells on everything. She was, you know, it was awesome. It was the perfect, like 8, 9 seems like a great age to take kids to. Cause they'll start listening. They can listen pretty well. Okay. They're not too young. They still enjoy the magic. You know, I'm 42 almost, and I was still having a good time. So I don't know if there's a bad age to go. Yeah. I just wouldn't take like a friggin' 3-year-old. Yeah. I think that's crazy. There was people there with like infants, and I'm like, no, what's the point? Like, yeah. I mean, if you're 2 or younger, I guess they get in for free, but it's still all crazy. Yeah.
I haven't been to Disneyland in, how old am I now? 34. So maybe 25, 30 years.
Yeah. I was 22 years ago. I was the last time I went to Disneyland, and last time I went to Universal Studios, I was 8.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know. I've been to Universal Studios once. I have no clue how old I was.
Yeah.
The last time I was at Disneyland, the Indiana Jones ride had just came out.
Right.
So that's how long it's been.
We did that one. That was a fun ride.
Yeah.
I for some reason remember the rock coming after you.
Oh yeah.
In the ride, and it doesn't. It just sits there the whole time, and then they like make reference of it's coming at you. But I don't know. Maybe it's just the movie I'm used to. Where the rock's chasing you. But yeah, I was thoroughly impressed with Universal Studios. Okay. I like Disneyland's great, and and California Adventure is a lot of fun. Like, and everybody knows it. But I think that Universal Studios is sort of not. I wouldn't call it a sleeper because it's been around forever and a day. And there was a Halloween theme going on that evening. So we had to get we had an actual shorter day than normal in the park. And so we actually weren't able to do everything at the park. We also didn't get the fast passes, which probably could have helped us out a lot. But it was like, where Disneyland's $200 and something to get in the door, Universal Studios is $100 and something to get in the door. But the fast pass at Disneyland's $20, but the fast pass at Universal Studios like $80. So we're kind of like, okay. But we didn't get to do the studio tour, which is a lot of fun. And I remember that from being a child, where you like go around and visit the studios in that area. Oh, and that would be interesting. Yeah. And the assistants are a really big fan of like scary movies. And the studio that was on tour was Nope, which is like an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Okay. That just came out. And so she's like, oh, I really want to go see that. But you also pass by, and I remember passing by the Psycho house is still up, built on a hillside. You pass by the Jaws area. They used to take you into this like subway, and then like King Kong would come by and the whole ground would twist. And like, now that you mentioned that, I've been on that ride. Yeah. Yeah. And so, okay. And it's like an hour tour of all these studios and some special effects things. And we didn't get to do that. What I really wanted to do that. And then the other thing we didn't get to do was the Simpsons ride, which we wanted to do, but the line was just too long. But I was like the shows at Universal Studios were awesome. Harry Potter Land was freaking rad. The Simpsons Land was really cool. The lower area was okay, but what we did is we went on the one ride in Harry Potter Land, and then they have like this roller coaster ride in Harry Potter Land, and then we left and we went and did the lower things because everybody goes straight to Harry Potter Land. And so nobody was down below. And so the rides were super fast. We did everything down below, and then we came back up to the top section and to spend the rest of the day at. Okay. And it was great. I had a fantastic time there. And yeah, like I said it before, that Harry Potter Land was a lot of fun, just like Star Wars Land was a lot of fun. Like they were like, it's just cool to like, you really get taken into like another world. Yeah. You get immersed into each of these universes. Yeah. Like everybody there for the most part had like an English accent, whether they had a real one or not, they were just talking in an English. Part of the hiring process is you have to have an English accent. Can you pretend to have an English accent? Wow. And you're buying chocolate frogs, it's like It's like so cool that they can completely change it all. They had Green Gots Bank, and it was an ATM. It was just funny, but it was a lot of fun. We had a good trip. The assistant's at the age now where she can deal with car rides for a little while. So
Okay.
I'm thinking about doing some, at least next summer, this upcoming summer, maybe doing like some longer road trips out a little farther away and do some camping. So now that I know she can handle 6 to 8 hours in the car fairly easily.
I can't do that.
Yeah. We're going to, and the assistant has a teacher bladder, so she doesn't have to go to the bathroom that often. The mini assistant really doesn't have to go to the bathroom that often either. So we can bomb for like 2 to 4 hours and then stop, get gas, go to the bathroom, get some food, and just continue on. So they're pretty good riders in the car for the most part. So I think we'll have some fun road trip camping coming up in our future.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was my last weekend. And then, Monday I was playing catch up on everything since I missed from like Wednesday midday, through the weekend. So I had quite a bit to do on Monday to catch up.
Yeah. Wow. Sounds like a really fun weekend.
It was. It really was.
Yeah.
Oh, and Monday was the 12th, actually the mini assistant's birthday. And we had a party at our house. So like we come home from a vacation and instantly jump into it was for family. We only had family over, but it's just, we still had dinner to make, and at least my mom made a cake and brought over ice cream, but we had, clean the house and get everything ready for 12 people coming over. So sometimes I think we just punish ourselves.
Right. Well, that's cool, man. Yeah. I've never ever followed anything that Disneyland does. When I lived kind of down in the Tulare Visalia area, I went down to Magic Mountain a lot.
Yeah, sure.
But I never went down to Disneyland. Like I said, I think I've been to Disneyland once, and I've been to Universal Studios once. I haven't paid any attention to what they've been doing in the past 2 decades.
Yeah. I could be one of those closet Disney fans, I think.
Well, I've been wanting Disney Plus for a long time just so I could follow along with the Star Wars universe stuff that's been coming out.
Yeah.
And so the secretary's been fighting me on it. And so we finally got it, and she's been watching it now more than I have.
Sure.
But
they have everything on there.
They have everything. I've been impressed with everything they have on there.
They have the original DuckTales, all 600 episodes.
That's crazy. So I've been to go down and just get immersed in Harry Potter land or the Star Wars land, that would be super freaking cool.
It is. It's really neat. You won't spend all day there. You'll spend an hour or so, if not a little longer, just walking around, checking it out, going on the rides, going into the cantina. It's really fun. We spent a few hours in the Harry Potter land. We spent a few hours when we got there, and then we left, and then we came back at the end of the day and spent the rest of the day in that area, walking around, casting spells, drinking butterbeer, going shopping. And it's the level of entertainment at these parks now has, I think, really gone up. Yeah. Technology is a lot better than it used to be back in the 80s, 90s, early 90s. And the interaction through screens is really crazy. On the Jurassic Park ride, the Megalodon, the really big fish thing that jumps out of the water and eats the shark or whale or whatever that was hanging. They did a lot of talk about that. It was swimming around, you went through its tank, right? And it was swimming around, and it hit the glass of the tank, and it started cracking. And then you go, at first you go, oh, okay, these are big TVs or whatever. And they're huge. I mean, they're 20 feet long, 10 feet tall TVs.
Okay.
Or screens, or I don't know how, projections. I don't know how they're doing it. But when it hit the window and started cracking, you really notice that it's really good detail.
Yeah.
I can visibly see this crack moving, and I'm like,
that'd be fun if they actually had water start dripping down inside the.
So at one point they did, it turned around and pushed its tail at the wall, and then water came out of the top, right? Where it was, it just came over the top of the tank it's in or whatever. But I thought the same thing on the second ride. I'm like, if they could figure out how to get water drops or shoot out or spray in that certain spot, that'd be cool. But at some points you're like, you think it's like, there's things are so good. It's almost real.
Yeah.
And then you have to tell yourself like, that's a TV, like it's a screen and you're watching this, but the technology is so far, the new Disney ride for Star Wars. There's a few times I'm like, how are they doing that? Like it's magic, it's like the technology on these things are insane now. And being fully immersed, like there's a hallway or an alley, like when you're walking through like Tatooine or something and like, in a market, and you're walking down and there's shops on all sides, but you're just like ropes and weird lights hanging down and
the attention to detail and everything.
They really strive for making you feel like you're there.
Interesting.
And the costumes that all of the people are wearing, it's really neat. And you really get immersed into that land easily.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm totally an outsider. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I do not belong here.
Flip flops. You're walking through Tatooine.
Right. Maybe that's another thing I should talk about is take good shoes.
Oh yeah.
Right. You're going to be walking forever if you go to Disneyland or any of these places. Cause whether we got 30,000 or 20,000 steps, that's still like 7 to 15 miles or something like that you walk.
Jeez.
And the assistant said, "Oh no, I've done it in my sandals before. I can do it again." And the day that it rained, she wasn't too happy in her sandals. She was slipping and sliding on places. She fell down one time on on a boardwalk because the wood was super slippery. And I'm kind of like, bet you wish you bought your shoes. Like I asked her I'm like, "You're going to wear sandals at Disneyland?" And she's like, "Yeah, I do it. Like, it's fine. These things are great." And she survived the days that it was dry, but the day that it rained, she wanted shoes and she didn't bring any shoes. So I would highly suggest bring a good pair of comfy shoes that you plan that you can walk 5 to 15 miles in, because you could walk that far in a day. And if you have horrible shoes, something that you're not used to walking in, then you're going to have a bad day.
Yeah.
But the going and being immersed in the worlds was a lot of fun.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, cool. You've sold me. I want to go to Disneyland now.
Good. Shit, I might go back with you. All
right.
It was cool.
We'll do a guy's trip so we can just sit there and just talk about all the engineering for everything rather than...
Yeah. They need to have a behind the scenes thing at Disneyland where...
A behind the scenes pass?
Yeah, where you talk about the engineering that goes into making the ride.
Yes.
That would be
cool.
I also was upset at Cars Land that they didn't have a truck in the race.
Yeah.
They had all funky looking, Corvettes or Camaros or, Supras or whatever, these race cars, and I'm like, I want the lifted truck, They're like, there isn't one. I'm like, I want the lifted truck. Where is it?
Yeah.
They're like, no, they don't have that one.
Whatever.
Boo.
Give me an Ultra 4 car.
I also think I could drive the racetrack faster than we did it in the roller coaster.
Okay.
I would like to try that.
Good the challenge.
Yes. I want to race the roller coaster.
Yeah. Can you imagine if they did a pod racing with go-karts, but they had the go-karts actual the pods and then you're just drifting behind them.
Yeah.
With no control over what you're in. So you have to as you're turning a corner, the pod you're in is going to swing wider.
So there's a ride like that it's Mater's I can't remember what they call it, Mater's Farm or something like that. So Mater in Cars is this old it's the voice is Larry the Cable Guy.
Okay.
And he is a rusty old truck. And so the ride is he's more put him in sort of, for rudimentary speaking, they put him in this figure 8 thing.
Okay.
And then you're in a trailer behind him. Right. And so it goes around the loop and you're swinging, faster on the outside. And then you come to the apex and it stops you. And then you come around the other side and the trailer whips around the other direction.
Interesting.
So they kind of had a ride like that. Also, another thing now that we're talking about it, we went into Futureland or Tomorrowland in Disneyland and they have a car, this car ride in the far back for younger kids. It's on you actually are in a go-kart, but it has a track. So you can't get off of your course. But, it's in Tomorrowland. It's in the future.
Yeah.
And they're all go-kart internal combustion engines. And it's sponsored by Honda. The assistant's come on, Honda. Like, shouldn't these be electric now?
Right.
What the heck? You know? And it smelled over there and it was hot. Like there was one point when we were all sitting in line and it was just hot because all the exhaust is going out, you know, and it was a hot day and you're just surrounded by all these go-karts and, you know, and they're throttled really low. You know, I was like, come on, I want to go faster. I want to run into, you know, the assistant and mini assistant in front of me. But yeah, I was in Tomorrowland. I was like, yeah, they probably should have the future.
Yeah.
Like the whole point of this is the future.
Yeah.
And you have now old technology. But so if anybody from Honda's listening, just check your shit.
Perfect. I like it. Cool, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, fun episode. Some fun things happening that are not super wheeling related. But you know, that's what you get here on the Snail Trail 4x4.
Yeah. Sometimes we actually have a regular life instead of
it happens rarely, but
yeah. It really, I think we exhausted ourselves in trips over the summer. You know, a lot of trips back to back to the Rubicon. I did have somebody tell me the other day that he thought I was just living up there.
It's kind of, I mean, you were for like a week that one time.
And, you know, I think was nice to come back and not really have a whole lot on our plate in regards to wheeling for a little short stint in time. And now, unfortunately, with everything kind of the fires going on and somewhat of our my rig's not necessarily down, but I want to do more work to it. And your rig is actually down. We've got some time on our hands, but I think in the future here, we're going to, you know, talk about Tyler's axles and what's coming down the pipeline on that. And kind of I've been on a group chat with some friends and, you know, there's been a lot of talk on the direction that you're going.
Oh yeah.
And so I think
there's been a lot of talk over on irate 4x4 too.
Oh, has there? I haven't been following that one as closely.
Don't go check that one out. No, it's bad.
Okay. And I think that, you know, we have a guest or two in the pipeline that we could talk about that, or we'll talk with, that will give us some directions on our rigs and what we have happening to them. And in the semi near future, I'm really going to put some time and effort into Samantha and try to, you know, get that project going again. And so we do have some things in the pipeline that are going to be a lot of fun, and we'll get back onto that off-road topic here. Yeah. In a near future episode. Yeah. We needed a couple of weekends here to kind of reset. I think we got a lot of really cool content, kind of planned out for the next couple months here. Yeah. That is going to be sweet. And I think a lot of fun for you guys, all listeners out there. So, absolutely. Yeah. Cool, man. If people want to get a hold of us, any feedback, any of their like favorite tidbits about Disneyland or Universal Studios or California Adventure, anything like that, how can they do that? Yeah, you can reach us on email, Jimmy or Tyler at snailtrail4x4.com. You can find me on Instagram, snailtrail4x4. Tyler's over at 4x4 Toyota Tyler. And you can call in at area code 916-345-4744. I like it. And with that, Jimmy, any final words for everybody out there? It's a small world after all. And with that, my friends, keep crawling. After all. I got one for you. Ready? Why did Mickey Mouse become an astronaut? Oh, I know this one. I don't remember. So he could visit Pluto. That's what it was. Why is Peter Pan flying all the time? I don't know. Because he never lands. Okay.